Good evening. Good afternoon. Good morning. I had a brain fart there for a second, guys. Welcome to the Actors Area. I'm your host, Sean Robert Grant. Happy to be here, as always, and sharing in the beautiful journeys that is my acting career, that is your acting career, that is our acting careers, and whatever else you're doing in the industry. I'm very happy, as I said, very grateful that you joined me, and excited that so many people are joining us from around the world. It's just beautiful, really beautiful to see that in every sense of the word. And so, just full of gratitude, man, straight up. Okay. So just wanted to throw that out there, guys. If you have any questions, any comments, any feedback, any type of anything you want to ask me, any, please, brain fart again. If you'd like to correspond, write to me at shaung04@gmail.com, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. I want to thank you so much for previous correspondence and all the comments and everything you guys have been doing. It's been great to really interact with, people who are on the same journey that I am. And so that's what matters, and that's why you're listening in. So another thing is please feel free to share this podcast with anybody that you know is on the same wavelength, right, and path, and ultimately anyone who feels like it resonates with them on a deeper level. So it's not going to resonate with everybody, and that's totally okay with me, and that's a big reason why we're doing the episode that we're doing today. But there are people out there that it will resonate with, so please share and give people the opportunity to find out. Thank you in advance. Okay, so let's get into it. Total belief in oneself, right, as an actor is what determines your success. Okay, and I love this topic because you have to define for yourself what success is, what it looks like, how fulfilled are you, right? And how does that continue to evolve as you continually follow your journey as an actor, as a performer, as whatever you are in the entertainment industry? But more so, this is the Actors Area, so we're focusing on actors and actresses. So this is a topic that I wanted to do for a long time because everybody has a different interpretation of what success is. And I'm going to tell you right off the bat, and you probably already know, but when most people think of an actor, they're thinking of someone who is a movie star, who makes millions and millions of dollars, who is on the red carpet, who's being interviewed, who's on top of magazines and all that stuff. And let me tell you, that could be the future for a lot of you, right? Could be the future for all of you. I'm an optimistic guy, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you what's not going to happen, but I'm going to tell you that you've got to determine for yourself whether or not that is a part of the success that you know is true for yourself. You may be under the impression also that that's not for you, but what is for you is to work in projects that continually challenge you as a performer, that continually allow you to expand your creative wings as an actor or actress, and that helps you to continue to grow and question your choices in your own life. Like, that could be the option in being able to consistently find work in that regard is what success means to you, right? So it's different for all people. Excuse me. And so that was just two examples, right? Sorry. Oh, sorry about that, guys. I apologize. That was just two examples that I laid out for you, but we are all different. We're all different souls. We're all different individuals. And the reality is our lives are going to be depicted differently. Our careers are going to be depicted differently. I tell you, it would shock me to the core if you took two actors and they had the similar trajectory as far as the path goes um, along the course of their career. It would shock me because no two people are different. So I think it's the same thing with actors. Or sorry, no two people are alike, which means no two actors or no two actresses are alike as well. Right? So I bring all this up because a lot of this ties into how much do you believe in yourself to know, right? How much do you believe in yourself to know that, okay, to know that your success is good enough for you? Your interpretation, your vision, your realization of success as an actor, actress, or performer, or both. How much do you believe that how you see it is enough? Because that's going to determine your happiness level too in this industry, right? Because the number one thing that gets all of us is our ability to compare. And it's a tough ability to have, especially in an industry when you're going up against multi-millions of people, it seems, right? As opposed to just saying, you know what? Sean Robert Grant said no two actors or actresses are alike. That means that we're all bringing different things to the table, and we should celebrate what we bring to the table and embrace it, love it, and be excited to express it, right? So when I look at this whole thing, I'm reminded of a couple years ago. Actually, this is more than a couple years ago. This was like, I was still living in California. And so that was a pretty, more about 6 years, something like that. And I don't know. Anyway, let's just say 5 to 7 years with the date. And I remember I had just began my writing journey with Backstage, with Daily Actor, with New York Castings, with all these different companies. And I was really excited and thrilled to share the wisdom that I had. And so I joined, I want to say like 7 or 8 different acting groups on Facebook. And I would put up my articles. I would share different things. I would share my podcasts. So it had to be around 5 years or so because I'm thinking my podcast started 2017. Yeah. Anyway, I'm trying to figure out when this date is. But anyway, that's not the point. The point is I was being as diligent as possible with putting out information that I knew and wisdom that I knew that could help other actors in the same boat. And I tell you, 99% of the people were receptive to it. They expressed their gratitude, and it was great. And then comes along this one person, this individual who is, I won't say it because you know what? I'm not into calling people out, but this guy had this chip on his shoulder and he was from Long Island or something like that. And, he was a very strong, forthright Italian man. And his approach to life was he knew best and he knew better than anyone else, right? So he went to every possible length, to diminish what I was saying. And I'm going to tell you something here. You're dealing with someone who is emotionally immature when they begin to get personal, right? You're dealing with somebody who's emotionally immature when they begin to get personal as it relates to you and your own experience or experiences. And so I'll never forget, this guy would literally wait for me to post and he would say something that was just outlandishly cruel. And it just got to a point where I lost it. I wasn't going to put up with it. And I'll be honest with you, if I saw him, like, we probably would have wound up fighting because what he was doing was just uncalled for. And you see that a lot on social media. And it's funny how people can be brave behind a phone or behind a computer, but would not do the same thing in person, right? So they kind of cower behind that avatar, if you will. But my point is here, this guy questioned every single thing I believed about myself as an actor and performer. He questioned all of it, right? And he even went as far as like, and you know he's cruel because he started to do research and he began to say, well, okay, yeah, you had a really big role in the movie with 50 Cent, but you were only like second on the call sheet. And I laugh now because I was just like, where in the world is he getting this from? It's like, is this guy so obsessed with me that he's like looking up everything he can find on me to try to use it against me? And I mean, I don't know what he's trying to use against me. But the reality is, long story short, he questioned every single thing that I did. And I'm going to be honest with you. It made me dig my heels into the ground and say, you know what? I'm not about to let this guy define what's success for me and what's not. Like, he doesn't have that power, right? For him to think that he does is something crazy. So I got to tell you how this story ended because it's a beautiful ending. And so one day I just had a new article approved by Backstage, and I posted it in the actors group. And here comes Noel with his comments. Oh, I gave his name. I gave his name out. Whoopsie. So we know his first name is Noel, right? So anyway, that was meant to be. That meant that my subconscious mind really wanted to tell you who he is. But here he comes with his rude, snide remark and comment. And I'll never forget. I forget this guy's name. That's funny to say, I'll never forget. And then I said, I forget this guy's name. But this gentleman, older gentleman, was so kind. And he came and he commented. He said, you know what? And he was replying to Noel. He said, you come here and you bash and you talk and you're, under the impression that you're not a success unless you're famous. You really need to check your attitude because there's no place for you in this industry if you're going to be that type of individual. He says, I don't know what your deal is, but here's a gentleman, and he says, Sean, who is doing everything he possibly can to help individuals to be better, to help individuals to rise up, right? And yet you decide that you're going to try and take that away from him every single time he comes to post. You need to really see deep down what type of person you are, right? And then he went on and he said, you're under the impression that, and I've seen all of the conversations. I've seen all of the stuff you've written. He's like, you're under this clouded perception that you're not successful as an actor performer unless you're like this big, huge star in Hollywood. He said, well, guess what? There's some people that do community theater their entire life and that makes them feel successful. There's some people that decide that they, are going to only do student films their entire life and they're happy and they're successful because they're acting, right? And the same with independent films. And he went on and he said something that was so powerful. He said, you need to find out how to believe in yourself so you can stop trying to take the belief away from other people. And that was the last thing he said. And I wish I had a copy of that post because it was so powerful. This guy was like my guardian angel. And when I tell you, he said that, it stumped Noel so badly that he never showed up. He never came back again. I think he even left the group. He just, he had to pick up his face from off the floor. And it was just like liberation for me. But it taught me this lesson. I'm not going to let some random stranger, I'm not even going to let a family member come and tell me what success looks like to me as a performer, right? I am not going to stand for it. Back then, like I was just trying to find the confidence to be who I needed to be and who I wanted to be, and just finding out who I was at this point in my career, right? I didn't know that in a solidified capacity. But once I found it, and that experience really helped me, once I found it, I'm like, no one, no matter who it is going to come and tell me who I am, how successful I am by their standards. And like I said, at that point, it was pure liberation. At that point, it was pure joy and excitement because I was defining my own success. And let me tell you something, Skip. Shout out to Shannon Sharp. Let me tell you something. When I did that, I began to book more. I began to align with projects that literally brought out the very best in me, not only as an actor, but as a performer, right? And as a person is what I really wanted to say. And it just all aligned because I finally defined what success was for me, right? And so I'm gonna tell you, I've been fortunate enough where I've had a little bit of taste of fame in from a commercial standpoint, from a movie standpoint, from a music video standpoint, right? Been fortunate enough to have commercials shown all over the world, and same with movies and stuff like that. And you know what? That brings me joy. But then I thought about it. And as that continued to happen more and more and more for me, one of the number one things I wanted to do is I wanted to do projects that were true to me. I just didn't want to go and book every single job and just do it because I had to do it or do it because of some other ulterior motive. No, I wanted jobs that would resonate with me. I wanted jobs that would touch my heart. I wanted, roles that would challenge me and help me to grow as a person and as an actor. And that's what I set out for myself. So when I realized that, I wrote it down. And after writing it down, it just began to happen. And now, to this day, the reason I can be on this podcast with you is because I understand what success looks like for me, right? And I am completely and utterly 100% fine. Not just fine, but over the moon, okay with that, right? It makes me happy because I can look at my career and say, wow, you really have done, something special in a lot of different ways, and you continue to do so. So the reality is what this episode is about. I needed to discover, one, belief and confidence in myself in an unwavering capacity. That's what you need. You need that 100, right? Especially when you're dealing with difficult people, because what happens is these people are difficult because they take out their shortcomings on you. And if you're not strong enough to withstand it, right, or even deviate away from it, it can pull you down and it can diminish what you've done. And that was that situation that I just told you with this guy. It didn't, but it almost started to make me question the stuff I had done up to that point, because this guy was really out to get me and really out to try and tear me down. So, but the belief in myself and the firmness and the strength, the inner strength that I had was enough to say, basically, enough is enough. I'm not going to deal with this, right? I am going to rise above it. And guess what? I didn't even need to. This other guy came in and shut this guy up completely. He was never seen from ever again, right? And I tell that story because, that's a part of my history. And I've never really shared that with the only person I think I've ever shared it with is my wife. But I think it's important for you guys to know that because there's a chance you might be in the same situation, right? Maybe a parent is telling you what's successful and what's not. Maybe a sibling is, maybe a friend you've known for a long time, maybe a teacher, right, is telling you what's possible for you. Here's the reality. Nobody can tell you what's possible for you except for you, right? But if somebody tells you something and you believe it, then guess what? That's considered your truth to the universe, and the universe is going to bring that to you. But you always, here's my advice. If somebody tells you something and it doesn't resonate with where you are, right? You can be open to the advice, but make sure your opinion of yourself is the last one you accept, right? And this is another thing I learned, from being a mystic and stuff like that. Never take advice, right, from someone who is coming from a different state of consciousness, a different state of being than what it is you desire or where you are. You see, a lot of times, every time Dick and Harry and Tyrone has things to say, but it's like, what do you have to back it up? Right? And so I think about that guy and I look back on the situation. This guy was tearing me down because he didn't have the credentials that I had. So he had to make me feel or attempt to make me feel inferior in some way, shape, or form in order for me to come down to his level, right? And that's what can happen. But the reality is the moment you begin to feel that someone is not in resonance or what they're telling you is not in resonance with who you are, you say, thanks, I'll think about that. And then you just move on, right? Say, thanks for your opinion. You don't even have to think about it. Just thanks for your opinion. I'm going to look things over and really, dive deep within and figure out what works best for me. And that's all you got to do. And I tell you, ever since I started doing that in my life, I've succeeded in ways that most people can't imagine. And the reality of me is I wasn't chosen or I wasn't believed. How do I want to say this? People didn't believe in me as much as I would like them to. As a matter of fact, they really didn't think I would amount to anything. They really didn't think I would leave my home state of Louisiana. In a lot of ways, the vision that other people had for me was pretty sad, right? But I was okay with that because that didn't affect me in the sense that it would stop me from dreaming more of what it is that I wanted, right? So once I came to a conclusion of what I was going to do and what made me feel the best and the belief that I needed to have in myself in order to accomplish it, everything got out of my way. Everything got out of my way. So I ask you right now, ladies and gents, tell me, what does success look like for you? You may already be a huge success as it is right now, right? And don't compare yourself to anybody. Doesn't matter who it is, right? Never compare yourself. Say, okay, where am I right now? Okay, where did I start? Did I go backwards or did I go forward? If I went forward and I made progress, guess what? That is success. In whatever interpretation it comes out to be, that is success. And you need to be infinitely proud of yourself for experiencing that. And guess what? When you do that and you're grateful for it, it's going to build and build and build and build. And it will blow your mind straight up in every sense of the word. Because now, social media can be an absolutely wonderful thing, but it can be a dangerous thing too. And the reason I say that is because if you can't look at social media as a way to get exposure to people that can share stuff that can help you to continually develop and progress, right? You're going the opposite direction, which means you're becoming jealous. You're becoming insecure, right? About what other people are doing and what other people are able to accomplish. You can't look at it like that. You've got to be so secure with yourself and understand this is my path. This is my journey. I'm going to give it 100%. And I know when I do that, things are going to work out. And if it doesn't, guess what? I'll find something else to do, right? Maybe something else that is in more of alignment and more resonance with what I desire or what I desire to see happen as far as the results go. So that belief in yourself, and it can sometimes get to a point where you're the only one who believes. And that seems like quite a lonely place to be. But sometimes when you hit the bottom, it's like you have nothing left. So the only thing you can do is strap up your boots, get up, and just start moving forward, right? You're going through all the worst of the worst of the worst. Now it's just like, okay, I got past all of that. Now let me just really focus on what I really choose and desire to see happen. And it oftentimes becomes easier. So look at the adversity as more of a propeller, right? More of a springboard to get you to where you want to be. So we're going to finish up here real quick. All I want to say is never stop believing in you. Never stop asking questions to the intuitive side of yourself about what does success look like for me as an actor? What does success look like for me as a performer? What does it look like for me in 5 years? What does it look like for me in 10 years? Now, you could be like, I want to be the biggest actor in the world. Go for it, right? Go for it. If it is an authentically sincere, true, genuine desire, it's going to happen. It's going to happen for you, no question, right? But if it's rooted in something to try to offset something lacking within yourself, you're going to run into some issues. But when you ask from a place of wholeness and fullness, and I hope you guys are meditating, because meditating just makes all the difference, and you ask yourself, what does success look like for me as an actor, as an actress, as a performer? What does it look like? Right? And am I there right now? Am I able to say, oh yeah, I'm good. I like that. This is what works, right? So it's about these questions. It's about finding out what works. It's about letting go of what doesn't work or who doesn't work, and not letting anything get in the way of your dream, but more importantly, your self-belief and your ability to be successful, and moving forward one step at a time from there. You do that, sky's not even the limit. You're going to go places, but you're going to go places according to the vision that you have for your life. And that's all that matters, is your vision. Not mamas, not daddies, not brothers, not sisters, not aunties, not uncles, not high school friends or elementary school friends or random Joes on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn. No, your vision is the catalyst. Your vision is what determines how far you go. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining me today. It has been a pleasure. This is Sean Robert Grant signing off. Have a wonderful day. Once again, if you guys would like to comment, correspond, ask for any type of, not feedback, but if there's any topics that you want to discuss here on this podcast, run them by me. I may very well be open up to doing an episode for that, and I'll give you a shout out for bringing up such a awesome topic for everybody to learn here from. So happy to have you with me all around the world, wherever you are. I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, night, whatever it is. Once again, please share the podcast with anybody you feel like who can benefit from it, and we will see you the next time around. Signing off, the Actors Area. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.